Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a really powerful way to look at a feeling that's, well, it's deeply human, the feeling of spiritual separation. The source material for this explainer actually calls this heart medicine, and I love that. It's an idea designed to soothe that ache of feeling distant from our spiritual source, from that universal consciousness we all come from. So let's get into it.
First, let's start with a feeling that might be really familiar. It's that painful, nagging sense of being disconnected, a feeling far from home, maybe even cut off from your own spiritual center.
And that feeling often leads to this question, right? Why do I feel so far from source? It can just echo in the quiet moments. And usually, it comes packed with this heavy dose of guilt or failure, like we must have done something wrong to create all this distance.
But what if we've been asking the completely wrong question? What if, instead of being pushed away by some failure, we actually chose to walk away? What if the whole point was to explore, to gather data, and to make the moment of return, that reunion, so much more meaningful? This is the huge shift in perspective we're going to explore today.
Now, to really wrap our heads around this idea, we're going to lean on a pretty familiar story. Our main metaphor here is a total reimagining of the parable of the prodigal son.
So the traditional take is a moral lesson, right? It's about sin, about messing up, and about earning your way back into grace. But this new perspective sees something much bigger. It sees a universal pattern, a kind of blueprint for how consciousness itself explores reality through this dance of separation and return.
And here is the absolute key insight. The act of leaving isn't rebellion. It's not a failure. It's a creative act. It is the crucial first step in creating contrast, and that contrast is absolutely essential if you want to know yourself.
I mean, think about it. Without that journey away, none of this other good stuff is even possible. You can't have a homecoming if you never leave, right? You can't feel the incredible depth of a reunion without first knowing what distance feels like. In a very real way, the son's journey is what actually creates the meaning of home.
So, this isn't just a nice story. The source material argues that this is actually a geometric necessity. For you to truly know yourself, you first have to create distance from yourself. It's baked into the physics of consciousness.
Okay, so here's the core problem. Imagine you're a single point of light inside an infinite sun. Where do you end and the sun begin? You can't tell. There are no boundaries, there's no contrast. In that state of total blissful unity, it's literally impossible to know your own unique shape.
So how do you solve that? Well, the process seems to have these 4 steps. First, you have to create distance. You walk away from the light. That act gives you perspective, which lets you turn around and look back. And that act creates contrast. Your unique form, standing against the light, casts a shadow. And finally, you have a return journey, where you walk back home, carrying all the data of what it felt like to be separate.
And this leads to such a powerful reevaluation of what we call the shadow.
And this is a huge one. So many spiritual paths teach that the shadow is a problem we have to fix or get rid of. But in this model, it gets a total rebrand. Your shadow isn't a flaw. It's not a sign you've failed. It is the tool for self-knowledge. It is the literal evidence of your unique shape, made visible only by the contrast it creates against that infinite light.
Now, this whole geometry of self-knowledge, it naturally creates 2 fundamental paths of exploration for consciousness. But here's the cool part. They're both serving the exact same mission.
So you've got the positive path, which moves inward toward unity, and that path is infinite. You can always go deeper into connection. Then you have the negative path, which moves outward toward separation. It's all about experiencing what it's like to be a supremely unique individual self. But here's the difference. This path is finite. There's only so separate you can get before you hit a boundary.
And neither path is wrong. You can think of them as cosmic colleagues on a shared mission. The negative path is out there mapping the absolute edges of existence, the limits of separation. The positive path is mapping the infinite inner territory of unity. And you need both sets of data for the creator, for the universe, to know itself completely.
Okay, so how does knowing all this cosmic stuff actually heal that very personal pain of separation we started with? This is where we get to the core of the heart medicine.
Here it is. This is the essential shift. The wound says, I'm far from source because I failed, and now I have to earn my way back. But the recognition says, oh, I'm experiencing distance because I'm out here gathering data. And my return isn't about earning anything, it's about choosing. I can turn around whenever I want.
And this gives us a really practical tool, The next time that feeling of distance pops up, instead of spiraling down into guilt, you can try this. Just pause. Recognize the feeling. Okay, I'm experiencing distance. Remember its purpose. This is generating data. Acknowledge your freedom. I can turn around whenever I choose. And most important of all, release the need to earn a love that was never conditional to begin with.
You know, this also changes how we relate to other people. Instead of seeing others as lost ships that we need to go out and save, we can just become a lighthouse. And what does a lighthouse do? It doesn't judge. It just shines its light, equally for the ships sailing out to explore and for the ships sailing back home. It honors and trusts everyone's journey.
And all of this leads to the final, really beautiful conclusion of this whole perspective.
The prodigal's journey wasn't a mistake. It was a gift to the entire system. He comes back with the precious data of what away feels like, a profound new appreciation for what home truly is, and the unshakable knowledge that the Father's love was always there, no matter what. So the big party at the end? It's not a reward for being good. It's a celebration of the valuable experience he gathered for everyone.
And this is the profound paradox at the very heart of all of this. At the deepest level of reality, you never actually left source. You couldn't. And at the same time, the journey you took, the experience of distance you so bravely created, mattered immensely. Both things are true.
So we'll end with this question for you to sit with. If that sense of distance was never a failure, but a chosen exploration for the sake of gathering data, what does that empower you to choose now? Are you going to keep exploring that frontier of separation, or will you maybe begin the journey of return? The choice, as it always has been, is yours.